Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 5 of Gabbing About Stories. I'm Kitty Bucholtz, author, book coach, podcaster, and newly crazy woman in menopause. Ugh. My lovely co host is the fabulous and funny Jill Bandemer, casting director and writer in Los Angeles, and a self proclaimed quirky single gal living her best blissfully clueless life. Hello, Jill.
Hello, and good evening, good morning, wherever you're coming from,
And good night.
tuning in from. Yes, and
That's
good night.
right.
Hello. Oh my gosh. Well, Kitty, since the last time we spoke,
Yes.
there's so much craziness going on in the world right now. So we decided we were like, what do we need more of? Laughter. We need
Yes.
more fun, funny stories, funny things, funny jokes, funny stories. We just want to talk about fun things today. So today's episode is about fun things. We're just going to talk about share some funny stories. Kitty has some, I have some. We're just going to share some funny stories so we can bring you hopefully some light and laughter,
Yes.
and just bring a smile to your face. So
All
so
right.
I'm going to start. Oh, go ahead, Kitty.
No, I was just going to say, you have to start because you have some of the best funny stories. You and I both, our stories tend to be on the ridiculous side, on the how could a woman have gotten herself into this situation in the first place kind of side. So if you like that kind of story, stick around. We've got lots of them.
We do. It's what I like to call when I'm casting. I like to tell people, like, don't you have a funny story? A dating story. I can't believe this person said or did this, oh my God. Or, an unusual job, a crazy job, or crazy funny situation. And I always say, like, like something you would have seen on Seinfeld or Friends or my favorite, I Love Lucy, where she would get herself into those predicaments where you're just like, what in the world?
Yeah.
And you and I both grew up watching the reruns of that, and I'm sure everybody has, at this point, but maybe some people actually saw them when it was originally aired. But I would watch that and it would just be like, what a fun life, though. Like, where you're like, oh my God, how did she get herself into this mess? But anyway, so we're going to share those types of stories today. I call
Yeah.
them sitcom moments. So we have some sitcom moments that we're going to share with you. And I'm going to start. So I had a story that this happened several years ago, and actually, it kind of is around that time of when this happened, where we are right now. But my friend Karen, I took her out for her birthday, and Karen is very, very easy to please, and so. I was just like, what do you want to do? She was like, let's just go to dinner. And so that night, like this is a special place in Los Angeles. We went to the Bel Air Hotel. So the Bel Air Hotel, and they have a restaurant there owned by Wolfgang Puck. And so we had reservations there. When I have to say, when I first got there, we were all dressed up and gussied up or whatever. I met her there. When I met Karen at the Bel Air Hotel, we actually met her at the lounge part, or like at the bar. I should say that. I should say kind of they have a couple different separate spaces. So I met her at this like bar area, and she was sitting with an older gentleman when I first got there. And then she was just like, "Oh, Jill, this guy, his name is Phil." I said, "Hello, Phil," talked. And he was like, "Do you want to join? Let's have a drink." And I was like, "No, no, we're gonna go to dinner," like and stuff. And because I was just like, "No, this is her night and it's her birthday." And she was like, "Can I tell her?" And he's like, and I was like, I hate to say it. I was like, I don't care. I don't know what she wants to tell me. He's like, "Nope, you can't tell me." So we go to the bar area, the restaurant area. And, as we're walking there, she was just like, she goes, "That guy, he said that he was one of the original founders of Grateful Dead." And I go, "I've never really listened to them. I have no idea who that is." So like, there's a lot of
That is
deadheads out
before
there.
me time. Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea. I did look him up later, and yes, it was Phil. I forgot his last name already, but he
So it
was one of
wasn't
the
lying.
founding
So it
members.
really was him.
No, it was really was him. I think
Okay.
he actually lived there. He actually lived at the Bel Air Hotel.
Oh,
So,
well.
but at that night, I was just like, we're just gonna go celebrate her birthday and have fun and
Yeah.
stuff. So, no offense, Phil, but that's
Yeah.
what we were doing. So,
Yeah.
anyways, we go and we have dinner. We actually ended up eating at the bar area because they were pretty busy and stuff. So while we're sitting at the bar, we're just having a good time. We I mentioned to our bartender, that was her birthday, and she was just like, and I go, "Oh, can Wolfgang, come and stop and say hello?" And he was like, "Yeah." So we're waiting, And Wolfgang never comes. And I was just like, she goes, it's okay, we can go because it was kind of cold. It's kind of an outdoor restaurant, but even the heat lamps, it was really cold that night. So it's in January. So we were like, let's just go. We had a lovely time. She's like, this was the perfect birthday. In my mind, I'm thinking, I'm pretty darn lame. I gave her a gift card to Starbucks and took her, out to dinner. That was it. It's like, man, I should really plan something more. So we are leaving. We stop in the ladies' room, and she had this beautiful blue dress on, and I had my pink dress on. Anyways, I realized as we're about to leave, I go, oh my God, we never had anybody take our pictures. Like that's something we just like to do. It's just,
Right.
I feel like these days it's just nice to take pictures and just remember that fun time and fun moment.
Yeah.
And so she's like, okay, we'll just stop and maybe we'll stop in one of the places before we leave. And so we start walking, we stop in what is, I believe it's either the lobby or the lounge or both. I don't know. We walk into this space. It's about 11 o'clock at night, I think. And there's only three people in there. And so we walk in, and I think it's going to be a moment or so. And so Kieran says, excuse me, could you take our picture? And it's a woman and two guys. And the woman right away says, no, no, no pictures tonight. I'm thinking I misheard this. I was like, I've never had anybody say, no, we're not going to take your picture. But
Right.
then because I even said, I go, oh, it's her birthday. And then before I even say anything more, the guy, or I even say anything more than that, the guys start laughing. And they're like, they said, one of them goes, they don't want your picture. They want you to take their picture. And the woman immediately is like, oh, sure, I'll take your picture. And I'm thinking, honestly, in my mind, I'm thinking, who the hell is this person?
Yeah,
Like,
why is she acting so weird?
why does she think we want her picture? Like, I don't want a picture. I don't know what's going on here. So, and in my mind, and I do, I've done celebrity booking in the past. So I was just like, I used to work for the TV Guide channel. And I'm thinking, is this person somebody? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. So we go, she even has this guides us over to like this fireplace setting. She goes, why don't you sit here? So Kieran takes her time getting her jacket off and stuff. And I sit down, and then we have this woman with Kieran's phone looking at us. And I'm looking and I'm looking, and I'm like, oh my God, I think I know who this is. And so Kieran has no idea. And she goes, I'm going to take a bunch of photos, And I'm like, that's great. That's great. Meanwhile, one of the guys is still sitting behind us, just kind of looking at us and stuff. And I'm like, okay. So she takes her picture. We say thank you. Karen takes her time getting her jacket off. She looks at the photos and she goes, oh, they're so nice and stuff. And then we just say thank you and we start to leave. And so we walk out, and Karen goes, she goes, that guy, he kind of looked like Jay-Z. And I was like, it was. And Beyonce just took our photo. And she was like, oh my God. I mean, they probably thought we were crazy on the path in Bel Air at the Bel Air Hotel as we were walking away. But she was like, are you kidding me? And I was like, no. I was like, that was Beyonce. I mean, she looked beautiful, but she didn't have makeup on. She didn't have the dolled up hair. Her hair
Regular.
was straight. She had a sweater and jeans on. And I go, oh my God. And the thing, and it's so funny. So we were giggling as we walked to the ballet. We were giggling. We're not those types of people where we're going to run back in and say, can we have your picture?
Yeah.
Heck no. I mean, this was just funny enough to begin with. So I get home. I'm driving home that night. I think even on my way home, but I was safe. I looked at my phone afterwards. Karen sends me a text, and she says, you, me, and Jay-Z. And I'm like, what the heck? So Beyonce photobombed Jay-Z in
Oh,
our
you mean
photo.
Jay-Z photobombed you guys? Or
Yeah,
however,
Jay-Z
yeah.
is sitting in the background. I can show you. I'll show you because
You
I
have
posted
the
this on
pictures?
Facebook. Yes, I pulled it up last night. I mean, I wasn't like, oh, I have this handy, but I do actually kind of have this handy. Now, I don't know if I can get this, but let's see. I want to make sure Kieran's in this. Okay, so I don't know if you can see this, but
Yeah.
can you see this, Kitty, if I put this up like this?
Okay, so I see the two of you. Oh, now I see in the back.
Can you see him in the background? I'm like, here, I'm gonna zoom in. Let's see if I
Kind
can
of
zoom into
behind you,
Jim.
right?
Oopsies. Yes, he's behind me. Okay, so there's Jay-Z behind me. There we go. Okay, so Jay-Z is behind me. And I'm like, Do you know what's so funny? Because I feel, and we know each other. If you told me something, I would totally believe you.
Yeah.
Well, I posted that on my Facebook. I posted the story
Uh-huh.
later that night and stuff because I was just like, in case I didn't post it right away because I was like, I don't want somebody running to Bel Air thinking they're
Yeah.
going to go
Right.
find Bel Air Hotel, finding Jay-Z and Beyonce there and stuff. But I think I posted it way late that night or the next morning. I think I maybe said last night we had the most amazing time, blah, blah, blah. And I posted the photo. So all of a sudden on Facebook, I got this reaction from people saying, because I think at first like people didn't believe me, and then all of a sudden somebody lightened it because the photo was kind of dark. That was the one thing. Karen goes, "Thank God she didn't say anything." She goes, "I was looking at the photo and I almost had her take more because it was dark." And no, 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 you wouldn't want to do that. But and before she knew it was Beyonce. And so, but literally somebody was like, I'll lighten this for you. And somebody on Facebook, all of a sudden everybody on Facebook started saying, like, I see him. I see Jay-Z. It was like, and I'm sure they probably thought, who are these people? And do they not realize who we are?
Yeah. But it sounded like with the first time you told me the story, it sounded like once she realized the direction that the conversation was going, that she was like totally into it. Of course I'll take
Oh,
your picture.
she was, yes, she was like, she jumped up. She could not have been kinder. She wanted to take our picture, but she didn't want to be in the picture. And that's
Yeah.
when I was so confused because I was, in my mind, you asked somebody to take
I
your
was like,
picture and you're like,
I
you're
wouldn't.
expecting yes. And I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? No, 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 not tonight. No pictures tonight. And I was
Yeah.
like, what?
What?
Because it's LA. So I mean, I guess, but in my mind, we go out, you just people are people. You're not really thinking, I'm not looking for
Yeah.
celebrities or anything like that. I mean,
Yeah.
there are times where somebody will look familiar to me and I'll stare and I'll actually think maybe I know them, like
Yeah.
I actually know them, physically, personally know them. But in this case, it was just they gave us the best memory and the best gift for Karen's birthday ever. Absolutely the best gift ever. And so that's one of the, I mean, that's our lives. Like it's such a I Love Lucy moment.
Yeah.
Only she probably would have gone back in to get a photo and climbing over a booth. And, there's a whole many episodes of I Love Lucy where she's in Hollywood trying to meet all
All
the
right. She
celebrities
was always
back
trying to get
then.
on Ricky's show, right?
Always trying to get on Ricky's show. And then when they did go to Hollywood, then she was at the Brown Derby, I think, and always trying to like meet the celebrities. And that's not me. That is definitely not me.
Yeah.
But it's kind of fun when you're just kind of like that again, blissfully clueless. Like I was just like, I don't know who this person is. Who are you?
Yeah. Yeah. And
Oh my
why do
goodness.
you care about, and why are the guys laughing, and like,
Yeah.
what's going on?
It was the laughter from the guys, and we still don't know who the other person was that was with them because it happened so quickly. I don't know, I guess as women, we kind of naturally go up to other women to ask for, hey, would you mind taking our photo or whatever? And
Yeah.
so I think Karen kind of directed her way and
Yeah.
stuff because you're kind of like, oh, the woman they'll take a picture and stuff, which she did. We just didn't realize the response we were gonna get.
Oh my gosh. I
But
love
that
that
is like,
story.
it's one of those things where you're just like, oh my God, I can't believe this. I will say though, I did have another situation where I thought, okay, so another situation kind of similar to this. I was
Yeah.
walking with my friend Elizabeth in Santa Monica. So Santa Monica as well, Santa Monica 3rd Street Promenade. This is years ago. Oh my God, probably like 15, 20 years ago. And we were walking, and all of a sudden she goes, "Wait, I think I know that woman. It's an older woman." And she goes, "I think I know that woman." So we kind of start following her, and she's like, "I think it's one of our friends' moms." And I'm like, "Okay, well, let's go see who she is." And to the point, like, I think the woman realized we were following her, and she got kind of paranoid. And she's like, "I know her." And I was like, I think I know her too. Well, whose mom? Whose mom is that? And we're going through all our friends, people that we know here and stuff. And meanwhile, this woman I think was kind of freaked out by us. We get a little closer and we realize it's the woman that played Jerry Seinfeld's mom on Seinfeld.
It is one of your friends' mom.
It is. Only she doesn't know us. And we
Right.
were like, we were like, I think this is so bad. I think at one point we were even pointing at her. And it was like, I think that poor woman, I don't even know the woman's name that played Jerry Seinfeld's mom, but
Yeah.
we were like, oh my God, we know this woman. But it's so funny in your mind how you're like, I know you. I do know you. And it's like,
Yeah.
how do I know you?
That happened to me so many times when we lived in LA.
Did it really?
Yeah. Yeah. Um, there was the guy who played the dad. He's actually more famous for something else, but in that I think one of the Law and Orders and Monta Joe Montagliano, is that how you say his
Yeah,
name?
Joe Mantagliano.
Yeah, I'm like, it's a longish name. Yeah, I think he ended up getting his big fame on one of the Law and Order shows, right? But he was the dad in Joan of Arcadia, which John
Oh
and I were
yeah.
like glued to the TV every whatever night that was.
Yes.
Yeah, every single night we were there. Our friends came over, we all watched it together.
I think
And
it was
so
Friday nights or something, right? That's a
it
Good
might
Friday
have been
night.
Friday. Yeah, yeah. Our friend Rachel came over before she got married. We had actually never met Rachel. We put a like a Craigslist ad for this desk that we had. She came over, didn't know her from Adam, you know. Um, and it takes like an hour and a half for her to buy the desk because the three of us just like started, yeah, like we immediately really all liked each other, and
Oh,
and then we started talking about Joan of Arcadia, which had just started, whatever year that was. It was the first season, and
oh,
it was probably, well, you know, it's LA, so like the weather does not help you to remember what season
no,
was it.
not at all. Not at all.
But whenever it was not very far into it, you know, a month or two, so probably the autumn. And then we were talking blah blah blah. Oh, it's such a good show. And then probably me, because this is the kind of person I weirdly can be, I was like, you should just come over next Friday night and watch it with us. And I'm like,
Yeah.
she could be an axe murderer or like a bank robber or
She could
homeless
be a
person.
serial killer. Like
That's
you
right.
have, there goes Kitty. That's the Kitty I know and love. You're like, come on over. Just come on over.
Come
I
on
don't
over.
know
You
you.
love that show. We love that show.
I met you on Craigslist. What could possibly go wrong here? What could go
Exactly.
wrong here?
Well, as it turns out, Rachel ended up being a dear friend for a very long time. She ended up going to the same church you and I went to. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And
Is this the
anyway,
Rachel that I knew?
uh so
We better
many
not give
people
last
went to that
names.
church.
Yeah, we better
Yeah, I
not.
don't
There's a
necessarily
Rachel.
want to say,
She
yeah.
doesn't do what I do. Does she? Does she do what I do for a living?
Uh oh, does she? Uh I can't remember.
Kitty's
It's
like
been so
all these
long.
burning questions. Well, we know she's not a serial killer, so that
Yeah,
we know.
she's not a serial killer. And now she's a wife and mom, so I'm pretty sure the
Yeah.
serial killer
It
bit might
might
have
be the same person I know. I would
yeah,
just realized
we'll
we
talk
know.
later, but
We'll just talk
it may be.
after.
I think I just forgot what she did for a living because that wasn't really how I knew her, you know. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. She
but
used to be a producer and then she started doing what I do.
yeah, I
Is that the
think that
same person?
yes.
The same person. Oh my,
So we
sorry
met her on
guys.
Craigslist.
Oh my God. Yes, I know exactly who you're talking about. And she's so
If
funny.
you
Oh
find her,
my.
if you're still in any way to connect with her, you should tell her about this show and be like, "We talked about you for 5 minutes." Okay,
Yes,
so
we're
Rachel,
Facebook friends.
yeah,
Yes, I keep up with her on Facebook. Yep, thank God. I know we're old school. I personally do not go on Craigslist, so I didn't even. I still have people telling me for my casting. Some people still find jobs on Craigslist. I'm like, and you live to tell about it? Like,
yeah.
oh my God, thank you, but oh my God, I just,
And it's not one of those jobs where like you do a flash mob so somebody can murder somebody else and then the police can't find them. That's the
yeah,
sort of thing I
yeah.
see on TV.
Oh my God, me too. Like I just go, I used to do things have changed so much in this world. I used to do all out of my casting off of Craigslist way back in the day. You know, I found a lot of people for when I was doing this show, How Do I Look? And looking for people for makeovers. And now that doesn't like other than what we just talked about right now,
Yeah,
I never think of that place for any, I didn't even know it existed anymore. I
yeah,
really, really did not know until people have been telling me lately they found a few jobs and stuff, you know,
right.
kind
Yeah.
of evening, kind of weird kind of job.
Yeah. All
Yeah, yeah,
right,
but
so
they live.
This is a rabbit trail now. Sorry, I will come back to my original story. But the other funny thing about Craigslist is that I became friends with a coworker. Her name's Melissa, and she would come in every 3 or 4 days. I mean, she came to work every day, but every 3 or 4 days, she would come in and go, "All right, I got to tell you about another ad I saw on Craigslist." And one of the funniest ones that she saw that I remember her telling me about, and it was probably written even funnier than this, but it was something like free puppies to good home. Um, Parents are, golden retriever and horny neighbor dog.
Oh my
I'm like, yeah, that sounds like dogs. Suddenly your
God.
dog is pregnant and you're like, crap. How, when?
And what are you going to do? What are
Yeah.
you going to do with them?
But what
Oh
a
my
great
God.
Craigslist ad. I mean, I'm sure that they got more calls than the other one that was like free puppies 6 weeks old, you know?
Exactly. Like, come on, you got to spice it up a little bit. You got to spice it up. Oh my God, I love that. I love it. This is kind of totally off that subject, but I have to tell you, like, when you're talking about like just funny things that you read and stuff.
Yeah,
So I grew up in a small town. So I grew up in a small town called Glencoe, Minnesota and stuff. And we had a paper there. We had one paper when at least when I was growing up, and then we got another one. Now I don't even know if they have papers. And it kind of breaks my heart. You and I are both readers. I like to physically, read things and stuff. But
yeah.
that used to be the highlight of the week was like, oh my God, the paper came out. And I think it came out on Thursdays. So you get the paper on Thursdays and you read through it and stuff. And I mean, I was the type of person that I was just like, I don't know, I was interested. I could care less about city council meetings, things like that. But I'd kind of be like, do I know anybody? And
Yeah.
mom, God love her, which she would be, they would put in the paper the DUIs. So she'd look, oh my God, she would look and see if any of our relatives were arrested for DUI. And that was like, you will never, ever, you better never see your name in the paper for a DUI. I never, thank God I never did. But she'd be looking for that, and things like that. But one particular time, there was a big headline across the front page. And the woman that ran this, I interviewed her when I actually went to journalism. I was in the journalism class or whatever we called that, back in high school. Oh God, yearbook class, whatever,
Sure, right.
because we did worked on the yearbook too. But I interviewed her, and I think her name was Anne Marie. And I have now become her because I remember when I interviewed her, she had bright red hair and she had bright lipstick, and the lipstick and her teeth were pink because she had lipstick on her teeth. That is me. I'm going to tell you guys right now, that is me. So I'm not picking fun of her because that is me as well. Can't tell you how many times a day people are like, you have lipstick on your teeth. Do you have lipstick? And sometimes I'd like to just tell those people, I like having lipstick on my teeth. I really do. Because that means I have lipstick on and I have nice
Yeah,
bright
it's
red
still
lips.
on. Yeah.
A lot of times it's actually not even lipstick, it's my lip gloss. So
Oh, yeah.
just to clarify to those people, but whatever, I don't care because they think they're doing you a favor. I'm like, it's okay. I'm fine with that. I
Yeah.
know who I am. And I'm like silly and stuff. But anyways, so the whole time I interviewed her, I remember as a kid, I was just, well, teenagers, not a kid, but teenager, and I was like, wow, she has red lipstick. But I learned a lot about the paper and stuff like that. And it was a family run paper.
Yeah.
But one of the funniest things was, and this just happened in papers back in the day, because I think she was like a one-woman show. She like did it all, did the writing and stuff. Maybe she had some people helping her with this and stuff. But these are the old days of well, not the old days, but probably like the 80s of newspapers. And the headline read, so there's a party in the park that we had in our local park. So in a small town, that's a big, big thing.
Yeah.
But you see the front page, and it says poop party in the park.
Oh no. What?
Poop party, not pool. It was supposed to be pool party.
Pool party. Oh my gosh, poop party? That's horrible.
And I mean, the whole town saw it. It was just like one of those things where you're like, oh my God, because when people freak out about typos these days, and I mean,
Yeah.
you and I both, we love our words. We're English, English majors and stuff like that. But it happens. It was like poop party.
Oh my gosh. You just gotta wonder how did that get through the
Oh,
proofing
but,
part
but
process?
I think she was kind of like a one-woman show, and God
Oh,
love her for being a one-woman show
yeah,
of this newspaper and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I don't even know how the process went that day, back in the day, but those are the things that you just look back at and you're just like, but you know what? It gave you such a good laugh because you're
yeah, yeah. Oh
just
my
it just
God.
happens. It just happens. That's like life in a small town, like
Yeah.
life in a small town. A lot of the times it can be kind of like just, kind of slow, Mayberry kind of, type of thing, Barney Fife kind of
Yeah.
slow type of thing. But,
Oh, that
like,
brings back memories.
oh, right. Like it's just, but, I kind of like those memories of where you're just like, but then when something happens, certain things will happen and you're like, oh my God. Like I'll share one more story and then I want to hear your stories, if
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
okay, Carrie.
yeah,
Okay. So speaking of small towns, so growing up, I grew up on a farm, and it's kind of hard to believe now because I'm probably the least competent, like least apt person to be on a farm these days and stuff. But I know farm life and stuff. But when I was growing up, like, we always had to work. It was like, go pick up rocks, go pick weeds, things like that. Like my mom was like, get outside and stuff. Eventually, she didn't want me outside, and I'll tell you why.
yeah.
I love because I was more of a tomboy. I liked helping my dad. I thought that was so cool. I'm like, I'm outside, blah blah blah. So, but like I said, eventually she was just like, I don't think you should be outside anymore because I was like a little like I Love Lucy outside because when I was 3, my dad, like we had this John Deere tractor, and when I was 3, my dad was like, I would get on one side, my sister would get on the other. We thought it was so cool to ride on the tractor with our dad. Well, I don't know what the heck I was doing, but I was 3 years old riding, and I think I was holding on, but my dad backed up the tractor and I think it jerked a little bit. Well, guess what? I fell off. I broke my arm. And to make matters worse, I hit something, I don't know, I don't know, some object, some tool or something, and you could see the bone, I guess. My dad immediately faints. And my dad was a tough guy, but my dad fainted.
Oh no.
And my mom didn't drive a car. It was a whole to do. So it was like, how are we getting here to the hospital? It was a whole to do. But
I'm just wondering, how did your dad like get from being fainted on the ground? Are you off in a field? You're not in the front yard.
we were luckily in the shed.
Oh, okay.
In
You were
the
still
shed. That's why I hit something that was in the shed. It was just like, who would expect this to happen? But then that happens to me. So it's
right.
just like the big to do. My aunt and uncle had to come from like, this is small town life.
Yeah.
Like, instead of calling, I don't even, well, I guess we had 911 back then, but my
No,
mom
we
didn't
didn't
call
have
911.
911 when we were kids.
We didn't. And I mean, literally, my mom was just like, we couldn't, she didn't drive and stuff. So it's like
Yeah.
my aunt and uncle had to come from like Hutchinson, which was like 10, 15 miles away, and come and, pick us all up, including my dad, get us to the hospital, and stuff. It's just like, oh my good heavens. And then, then deal with that. So that's one incident. So then the next incident happens, I got to be honest with you. I don't know how old I was, but like, I could have been 7, 8, I don't know. I was pretty young.
Yeah.
But when you grow up on a farm, you're just taught to work, and help and stuff, help the farm, help your dad, mom and dad.
Yeah.
And so my dad, back in the day, we had like a small, again, I think the same tractor. So same John Deere tractor. It was a smaller one. And we were in the fields working, and my dad decided he was going to teach my sister, who's a year older than I am, Jody, and myself, how to drive the tractor just for a few minutes or so. I
Yeah.
don't think he told my mom. So we're in the field. My sister gets to drive, and I'm of course I'm such a little brat. I'm like, I'm so jealous. I want to drive that tractor. It's like such control. Oh my God. So finally it's my turn to drive.
Yeah.
So I get on and I drive a little bit. I'm sure he let me drive like for a minute, if that. I don't even know. The gears, I don't understand.
Yeah.
Well, then he tells me it's time to stop and my sister's gonna take over. And so I don't know, I hit something and I hit one of the gears, or I hit something I probably wasn't supposed to.
Yeah.
My sister was climbing up the back and I jerked. She fell off and got under the tire, and I drove my sister over with the tractor. And in those few
Oh.
seconds, I was like, I am so dead. I am so
My
dead. Like
sister
my
might be
child,
dead and then I'm really dead.
I'm really dead. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so gonna get it. Like your little head is just
Yeah.
like, I am so gonna get it and stuff. And thank God, within a few seconds, all of a sudden I hear, I'm telling mom. And my sister takes off running towards the house. And I'm like, oh, thank you, God. Thank you, God. She is alive. I don't know how she's alive, but she's alive. Because I think luckily it had rained, so I think the soil was wet, moist enough that she kind of sunk in. And thank God it's a smaller John Deere tractor. These days, those big, huge honking things, forget it. You know, those
God.
big tires are bigger than you and I and stuff.
Yeah.
But I was just like, ooh, and yeah, and I got in a lot of trouble. My dad did too, but I was her sister over with the tractor, and it was like, that's farm life for you, though. I was just like, thank God I didn't kill my sister.
Yeah.
But my mom never let me. I never, here I thought it was all hot stuff. And I was like, I'm going to drive tractor. I'm going to be driving the tractor. Yeah, my mom never, she put a kibosh. That was the kibbutz. Like, that was like, what's the word? She kiboshed to that. She was
Kibosh.
just kibosh. I can't speak. I
But it would
don't
be
know the
funny if
word.
she put a kibbutz on your land. No
Complete
more
leader.
of this.
I put my own language to this. I was like, oh my God. But that was farm life because it was just, I always had these mishaps where it was just like
Yeah.
broken arm. Then I drove my sister over with a tractor, and my mom was like, you were staying in and doing housework. Oh, which I just absolutely love. No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God. But yeah, my sister and I, the whole time when we were growing up, we are like, we'd tell all our friends, we're like, I drove, my Jody would always tell her friends, she's like, she drove me over with a tractor. And I was like, oh my God. You just think like this, that's farm life for you.
Yeah.
It's just like, but it is kind of like, thank God it ended up being a sitcom moment.
Yeah. Now, it would be really fun. Anybody, if you're watching, we need to have comments that say, I grew up in a farm and that's not what we do. It's not farm life to run people over with the tractor accidentally. Maybe on purpose. I don't know.
Yeah. It's like, oh my God, this is like a whole different level of Hallmark Channel story.
I'm pretty
Oh my
sure that they
God.
wouldn't allow this on the Hallmark Channel.
Yeah, they'd be like, what in the world is
We're not
happening
running
here?
people over.
Yeah. But don't you think like this is what sitcoms are made of, where you're like, what just happened here? I
It's
did not expect that to happen.
it's totally an I Love Lucy moment. I can totally see Lucille Ball doing that.
Oh, you're just like, what is happening? Oh my God. I'm thankful that my life at times I'm just like, did somebody see that? Oh my God, that's just so funny. Or I fall down all the time still, but now I'm kind of like, oh my God, I don't want to break something, but
Yeah.
I like flip over and stuff. But no, I want to hear some of your funny stories because I know you have some funny stories, Miss
Well,
Kitty.
I just thought of something really funny that wasn't on my little list because of something that you just said. And then we kept on talking, and now I'm like, menopause brain is not remembering what I was just now going to tell you. So I'll tell you your favorite story.
I
It's very
love this
short.
story. I think it wasn't even told by you. It was told by somebody from our Bible study.
It probably
It
was
was a,
told by
it was
Dwight.
a bit jealous and bitter, I think, at the time as he told this story. Keep in mind he's single.
Okay, so I grew up like total good girl, A student, do whatever, the parents and the adults say. Definitely turned into the kind of employee where I do whatever the boss says, and like authority, maybe not so much now, but authority was a pretty big, thing for me. So anybody in authority, if they were unhappy in any way with what I was doing, I was like, oh, okay.
Me too. Oh,
Oh my gosh, this is terrible. Okay, so John and I signed up to go on one of the Habitat for Humanity um, like trips.
mission.
Yeah,
Yeah, mission.
um, yeah. So we went from California to Belfast, Northern Ireland, and we're building houses in the rain because, as one of the guys who was running that site said, it only rains twice a week in Ireland, once for 3 days and once for four. And then we learned he was totally right. So we did like 7 days of work and a day of like taking these tours and stuff, and then we had one day where we just like went off and saw cool things, like we drove down to Dublin and just like saw Dublin. That was pretty
Oh,
amazing too.
wow.
Yeah, so but on because the whole idea was to for it to be an educational experience for people to understand Belfast better, and for like Protestant and Catholic people to be working together and building houses for both Protestants and Catholics and all this sort of thing. There was a lot of really interesting things that we did as part of the um, I don't want to call it a tour because it's not like we just like signed up for a tour, but it was part of the thing that at least then the Habitat for Humanity group in Belfast was always doing for people. And so we were taken to all these places and saw all these things, scary things and interesting things and historic things. And one of the things we did was we went to Parliament House, which was
Oh.
amazing and gorgeous and beautiful and wow, And even though I was trying to think, had to have been in my early 30s, probably. I'm
Yeah.
guessing. Does that
Yeah.
sound about right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you and I are about the same age and we met around the same time. So yeah.
Yeah.
So it was probably the first time I'd ever been inside of any like cool government building, like where laws are made or anything like that. Like I never
Ooh.
went to Washington D.C. like as a kid or anything, and yeah, I'd never really seen inside any of these, big legal buildings. So we're in Parliament House, and the guy's giving kind of like a little mini lecture and stuff. And John and I, at this point, had to have been married for between 20, maybe not 25, no, not 25. Okay, between like 17 and 20 years, because I can't
Yep.
remember what year it was. Um, oh, yeah, it was around year 18 or 19. Okay, so now we are just used to, we're just always together, and when we're together, we're not thinking about how we're acting, we're just acting how we always act. But now we're in another country. So one of us like scooches closer to the other one and kind of leans against the other one, and then the other one, takes the hand, and we're holding hands and just kind of leaning up against each other, holding hands. And the guy in like this very strict voice said, "No canoodling in Parliament House." And he was looking right at us, and I jumped because I'm like, I don't even know what he said. Like I couldn't understand what he was saying. And then I'm just looking at him, and I'm like, oh. And John and I are looking at each other, and we're looking, and then everybody's looking at us because they're like, oh my gosh, Kitty and John did something to make this guy mad. But he's one of those people who has like just a really dry sense of humor, and or like really good at like the jump scare kind of teasing.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't even know what canoodling is. I don't know what I did, but I'm really sorry, which just set him off. Then he started laughing. So so I didn't know what canoodling. I still didn't know what I had done wrong. And then eventually somebody was like, "It's because you two were like being all lovey-dovey." And I'm like, "Oh, that's not lovey-dovey. You haven't seen lovey-dovey."
Oh my God.
But I was so embarrassed because I'm like, I'm in like a government building of another country. And someone just yelled at me, even though it turned out he was teasing. But I was like, oh,
The canoodling couple.
canoodling. I didn't even know what it was.
They've forever been known, just so our viewers and listeners know. Now we forever call them, John and Kitty are the canoodling couple. The
Ever since we
canoodling
got
couple.
ever since we got back from that trip. Yep.
There are worse things in the world, but what a great, I just, that because Dwight, the way he said, "Ugh, the canoodling
Yeah,
couple."
it's true. Dwight was like this teasing disgust, like ugh.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. I love it. That's
Crazy.
another moment though, where you're just like, that could totally be in a sitcom where you're like, what? Who? Who's in
Ooh.
trouble? It's you? It's me? What?
Okay, that's not nearly this. I also have some I Love Lucy moments, and this one is definitely like way onto the I Love Lucy scale. So, you and I went to the same church, all of us.
Hmm.
Mm. Sorry, I'm so thirsty. It is so dry here in Sweden right now. I was scratching my arm during my last meeting, and I looked down, and I was bleeding because my skin was so dry. I was like,
Drawing,
holy
you're drawing blood.
yeah, did not mean to do that. Okay, so we all went to the same church in LA, and it's a big church, and it's also on a hill. So the parking lot, the big main parking lot, is on the other side of the street. When I say
Hmm.
street, I mean it's two lanes, but it's not really a street. It's more like occasionally, I don't know, sometimes it seems like a drag strip for how fast other cars can like go around the turns,
Is
all
it
the turns.
Mulholland Drive?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's Mulholland Drive.
yeah. So, but I mean, people who don't have any idea what Mulholland Drive is, I was just trying to,
Yeah,
yeah, explain it. It should be a safe street to cross. It's not always.
not always. Not always.
So this particular Sunday, our car was in the across the street parking lot as opposed to the same side of the street. And so, carefully cross the street. John's talking to me. I'm talking to John. John usually is half listening, at least. Like he's very good at putting on the illusion of listening to his wife.
Good
Um,
husband.
and I figured that's just a husband thing. Husbands learn to put on the illusion of listening to their wife. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. but but then like we're walking and talking and he seems to be paying a lot more attention to me and I am eating that up because of course I love to be the center of attention.
Oh.
And now I'm like totally focused on him. Like I'm walking, but I can walk and talk. So I'm walking, but I'm looking at him and he's looking at me and he's giving me more eye contact. And I'm like, this is amazing. And so I'm really getting into my story and I'm moving my arms and my hands and I'm so focused on him because, you know, walking, it's easy. Your legs go this way. My head can still be facing a totally different direction. It's no problem at all. And then he's like starting to look at me funny. And I'm like, oh my gosh, is my story not interesting enough? And so I try to make it more interesting, whatever it was that I was telling him. And then he starts kind of like his look of confusion is kind of turning into smiling and then almost laughing. And I was right in the middle of trying to figure out what did I say that was funny, and bam! I
Oh,
hit my head so hard on a
oh
great big metal light pole.
no.
I walked directly into it. I mean, not just bumped my shoulder or my elbow or my ear.
Oh
No,
my
straight dead on. 100% my entire head smashing against the metal light pole. John starts laughing so hard. In TV shows or cartoons or something, you'll see somebody bending over and they're just pounding their knees. And I've never seen an actual human do that until that day.
Oh my God.
And he's just and he looks like he can't breathe. He's laughing so hard, and he's pounding his legs. And I think, my gosh, he's gonna fall right over. But he was so funny. Like it's funny to watch other people laugh. So my head is killing me. I've got my hands up on my head, but I'm looking at my husband like almost on the ground, laughing so harder than I've ever seen him laugh in like 18 years of marriage. And I just start laughing because I'm thinking, you're so funny. And even though, and I wasn't 100% sure still what had set him off. And he's like, it's because you walked right into the light pole. And I'm like, that's so funny. I'm like, but my
Back to
head hurts.
you.
Why didn't you just like tug my hand a little bit to see if I, just pull me out of the way of danger? And he's like, no, I had to see, will she really do it? Will she really walk into a light
Your husband is such a dude. He is such a dude.
pole? He's a dude.
I wanted to see that. Oh my God. Did he even ask if I know he's a nice guy. He's a really, really nice guy, but did he ask if you were okay after all
Yeah,
that?
when he got up
After all
off
the
the
laugh.
ground and could breathe again.
By the way, are you okay? Is there blood? Is there
Yeah, then he does the Sheldon there. Oh,
what's that song? Soft Kitty. What's that song that Sheldon sings?
yeah,
Soft
more
Kitty.
soft kitty, warm kitty, little ball of fur. I can't remember the rest of it. There's like two lines.
You, because your name is Kitty.
Yeah.
I just thought of that.
You just thought of it?
I just thought of it. I was like, oh my God, that's so perfect because your name is Kitty.
Well, that only took 12 years for you to connect the dots.
Just dawned on me.
All right.
Kitty.
Well, here's another one. Did you realize that our gabbing about stories that we did intend to be humorous and entertaining is GAS, gas? And I was like,
What?
like it's a gas. They're a gas.
Oh my God, I did not realize that.
I keep wanting to remember to tell you, and I just always keep forgetting.
God.
But
Oh
then
my God.
all I can think of is jumping Jack Flash.
Yeah, Jumping Jack Flash.
Flash. It's a gas, gas, gas.
Gas. Oh my gosh. Kitty, I had no idea. We are a gas. We are a gas. I love that.
At least
Oh,
you and I think we're a gas.
we do. We do. Oh my God. I love that. Kitty, I'm having so much fun. I just looked at the clock because I do think I have a, do you have a meeting and I have a
I
Zoom?
also have a meeting. Yeah.
Now, of course, guys, this time went by so quickly, so quickly. I think we're going to have to continue this into the next episode because I think we need more laughter. Like I certainly needed this. I'm sure you did too, Kitty, and hopefully all our listeners and viewers, we hope we gave you some good laughs and a big
Yes.
smile on your face and some
Yes.
gas and maybe
Yeah.
some gas too.
The good kind, not the bad kind.
Gas, gas, gas.
Otherwise, we don't want there to be a poop party near you. I can't believe I just said that into our podcast. And on that note, it's time to leave.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Tune in again. We have lots more laughs, lots of great stories to share with you guys. And we want to bring some bright and light sunshine, light and laughter. That's what I'm trying to say. Light
That's
and
right.
laughter to you guys and just more fun and stuff. Have a wonderful night, morning, afternoon, wherever you're at and stuff. And just, share some comments. Let us know what you guys think and some
Yes.
maybe funny stories as well. If you're like, oh my God, I've got this funny story too. But have a
Good.
wonderful, joy filled, whatever time of day it is where you're at.
Yes. And see if you can make someone else laugh today.
Yes, that's our goal. You know what? That's our challenge to you. Make someone else laugh today.
Awesome.
Yes.
Bye, everyone.
Yay. Bye.